This is DataVault. I'm going to talk about DataVault modeling introduction in 10 minutes. Um, as usual, it's like a pretty quick video in 10 minutes. DataVault, let's see what I'm going to see today. Traditionally, in enterprise data warehouse, right? Enterprise data warehouse, it provides a single data repository, right? We store all the historical data in enterprise data warehouse. It is integrated data from more than one source. You don't have to have like, we can have like 10 or 15 different source systems and have the data stored into enterprise data warehouse. And it facilitates the reporting, analysis, and performance management with different focus in different departments and levels of management, which means we can just see one department's data, how does it reflect with changes in other departments, and how is the performance of an individual person compared to the whole company. So those kind of reports you can just see in the data warehouse. Okay. We can also audit data and historical storage. We can just see like what happened in like 2 years back, like what was the sales for a particular product, etc. So those kind of things is made possible by having an enterprise data warehouse. So this is just a short introduction of what is an enterprise data warehouse is. Okay. Data model. Traditionally, right, for data warehousing, we either use third normal form, which is optimal for operational systems, okay, or we use a star schema, which is optimal for OLAP and data delivery. Star schema, when I say, you will have a fact data surrounded by all dimensions. Fact is like kind of sales. You will have like a store dimension, time dimension. So based on the time, on the dimension, we can just retrieve the data like what was the sales on last year, of last month of last year, etc. compared to this month. Traditionally, that is what the approach is. And data vault is another method which we can use to build the data warehouse. Um, Remember, data vault is all. Data vault wasn't practiced from since 1990s, right? Dan Lindsteder was the person who invented the data vault methodology. So this is how a data warehousing system looks like. We get like data from variety of sources like say SQL Server, Oracle, UDB, text files, Excel sheets. Those data it's collected and it's loaded into our staging area. Staging area is a place where you store the data temporarily, like probably for 1 month or so. And then we use ETL to cleanse and load the data into a centralized data warehouse. Okay. So the data warehouse will have historical data. It will have data ideally a data warehouse would have like around 7 years worth of data, but some places they have like 3 years worth of data. So it depends on the business what they do. So from that data, they derive data marts. Data mart is basically a set of information which is required for that department to function. For example, a finance data mart or a marketing data mart. Okay. And then from that data mart, sometimes they build a cube. Cube is basically a multi-dimensional view of a data. Like if you want to see a sales of a time, of a store, or of a region all together at the same time, right? So you have a fact in a multi-dimensional view, right? So for that we build the cube. Cube is like a pre-aggregated data structure which is used to view the report. And all these things are managed. We do a metadata management using data governance, like how the data flows, what is the impact of any change to the source data. So those kind of things can be did using the metadata management. Okay, this is what the data system looks like ideally in any environment. Like I said before, Data Mart is an access layer for data warehouse environment. Um, is used to get data out to the users. Data Mart is a subset of data warehouse which is usually oriented to specific business line item. For example, finance data mart, or a marketing data mart, or a campaign data mart, anything that is specific to that for the business. Okay, that's what the data mart is. Dimensional model. Dimensional model is a way a database is modeled so that it will be easy for us to query the data, query and retrieve the data. Okay, so it usually has a fact in the center, and it is surrounded by all the dimension. When I say fact, fact is actually the actual measure. For example, sales or the students' marks, anything that can be counted or anything that can be measured is called fact. Okay, and dimension is basically the descriptive attributes. For example, time is a dimension, or a store location is a dimension. Uh, so those can time there are like a variety of dimensions. So that will be surrounded by the fact. So the fact table will have the actual fact, and it will have keys to all the dimensions, so that I can query the data based by joining the fact with the dimension. Usually, when you take this data model and look, it will look like a star. Okay? That's why it is called star schema. Okay? That's what dimension model is. Like I mentioned before, you can see a fact in the center and all of the dimension on the sides, so it looks like a star. So that's why it's called star schema. Um, there are like BI semantic. There are another model called semantic model, which is basically multi-dimensional modeling. Like I said before, we can just see the sales based on a store, based on a time period, based on a region, based on associate. We can just slice and dice the data however that you want to do. Okay, and also tabular modeling. There is another modeling called tabular modeling, which is like basically self-service data modeling capabilities. We just set up the semantic layer, and we just export the semantic layer to the business, and business would query the data based on whatever they need. Based on their analysis, they might come back and say, okay, I want a report like this. Okay, so the IT would build the report based on that requirements. Okay. Data Vault. Data Vault is basically a detailed-oriented historical tracking and uniquely linked set of normalized tables that supports one or more functional areas of business. Okay. Data Vault is another option that we have. Please remember, this is not a replacement for star schema or a third normal form. It is basically another method that we can store the data. Okay. Uh, with the design of the data vault is flexible, scalable, consistent, adaptable to the needs of the enterprise. Uh, in today's world, change is like a constant thing which happens in the enterprise world. An enterprise company can buy a system, can decommission a system pretty quickly. It's not going to take them like a couple of years. They just buy a new system. They just get rid of the old system. So the changes are pretty frequent in the today's world. When you take the star schema and the third normal form, it cannot handle the changes. Okay, but when it comes to data vault, it handles the changes very well. You can just bring in a new source, or you can just decommission a new source. Uh, the data vault modeling accommodates the changes very well. We don't have to do a lot of re-engineering or recoding any of the things that you want to do in data vault. So that is a very good feature of the data vault. So now more and more companies are adapting this data vault methodology, and it is agile. It supports agile. You can just release the code in short sprints. Okay, those are the major advantages of data vault. This is just a food for thought. Data vault is all about backroom efficiently collecting, integrating, and preserving data from the source system. So we do not do any changes or we do not lose any data. We just store everything that we get from the source systems. Okay. Dimensional modeling is all about front room publishing organization data. Like I said before, DataVault is not a replacement for dimensional modeling. Dimensional modeling has its own purpose. DataVault has its own purpose. Okay. Okay. When it comes to DataVault, it comprises of hubs, links, and satellites. Hubs are basically business keys. Links are the relationship. Satellite basically has the descriptive information. Okay, so this is how the data vault model looks like. The red colors, it's all links. The blue ones are the hubs, and the yellow ones are the satellites. Okay, business key. We will talk about the business key in upcoming slides. Business key is a key, is the information which will be used to uniquely identify a entity. Okay, for example, social security number is a business key. Something which is not dependent on the source system. We cannot use any IDs from the source system as a business key. In any business, and uniquely identifiable column is called a business key. Okay. Satellite is basically descriptive information. So we will store the business key in the hub and all other attributes of the hub. For example, your first name, last name, and the other things will go into the satellite. We can just have any number of satellites. That depends on the requirements, that depends on the number of systems that we have in our enterprise. Okay. So this is how in reality we'll have a data vault model. Okay, we'll have a hub. Hub will be surrounded by number of satellites, and two different hubs can be linked using a link, and link would have its own satellite. For example, in this example, we are seeing an order, product, and customer relationship. A customer has a hub, okay, and the customer has three satellites, and a product, it has its own hub, and it is also having like three satellites, and it is linked by a link. Okay, which product was bought by which customer and which order. Okay, and order is again its own hub and it has an own satellite. Okay, the link satellite would have the order information, like what a customer ordered on what date, etc. Okay, that's what it is. So this is in short what a data modeling is. Please reach out to me if you have more questions, if you have comments. I would go ahead and release a lengthy video later on. Please do like my video and add comments if you want. Thanks. Bye.